test and trace never did seem to find me during the COVID pandemic, during the lockdowns. I remember it was back in March, I think, 2020. Well, here we are anyway at Bridlington, beautiful Bridlington, lobster capital of Europe and top seaside resort between Flamborough Head and Wilsthorpe Beach. And here I am, standing again where I stood in April 2022 at the end of the last lockdown. And I'm walking through town to show the changes that have happened since that last lockdown period. Now, the very first video I did just about was of walking through Bridlington. But go back a bit further than that, go back to March 2020, because right now it's Sunday the 9th of March 2025, and exactly 5 years ago since the first lockdown, March 2020. So I remember my wife being sat at home, test and trace rang, and my wife handing my number over, but they never did contact me. Here we are, walking down the main street in Bridlington. You can see how it's recovered. A beautiful day again to do some filming at Bridlington with the sun shining. I remember, let's cross over the road and do an exact. I was just speaking with that lady who recognised me, wondered if it was me from all these videos filmed at Bridlington, because actually this is almost the 100th video I've taken over the last 4 years at Bridlington. But back to the topic here, walking along. It's much improved, is Bridlington. It was a terrible scene, of course, all over the country during at the end of the COVID pandemic. Now, if you do look at the first video on my channel, it says summer season 2022, something like that. It wasn't actually summer season, it was just my sense of humour. I filmed that in April 2022. But the whole of the pavements here, everything was covered in white seagull droppings, because of course there'd been sort of allegedly no council services active during those terrible lockdowns that we had to endure. Now having the freedom to walk around Bridlington again, it's fading into the past, the memories of being trapped inside the house all that time and just being allowed out for one walk a day. Oh, that was the UK, the whole of the UK. I think it was certainly England during the pandemic there. I remember filming here, and again back to that original video, you'll see some differences. That was different on there. They had a different blind on. And I've got some netting there now. Stop the seagulls going onto the top of the toilet. I think that's the toilet block. And when the windows were open there on the top windows, seagulls used to go in sometimes. Still a little bit cold on the hands there, so I'm going to put my gloves on. I remember walking along here. I'm trying to replicate the walk I did back in 2022. when we came to Bridlington after the lockdown. It felt really weird. It was the first place we came to after the last lockdown, and I rang someone in one of the cafes and said, you know, we're over in West Yorkshire. How do you feel about us coming over? You're worried about, you know, bringing the COVID virus with us? You said, oh no, come and visit. And here we have beautiful Bridlington Harbour with a fishing boat just departing. As I said, the whole of this was sort of white, although I did film that very first video in 1080p and put some sort of brown tint on it. It was before I learned how to properly make a video. You know, I actually did that first video, and I did it in one continuous take, in fact like I am doing now, because believe it or not, if you don't have an iPhone, the iPhone doesn't have a pause button, so you can start and stop a video, no pause, even after all these years. Now here we are walking across here. Now on that video you'll see pretty much the same here. I zoom in on this door and you'll recognise that. Coming along here has totally changed. There was some scaffolding up there. You're perhaps wondering why it's like this at Bridlington on the 9th of March. Well, it's actually 9 degrees. Supposed to be going to be 16 degrees later on. So this goat was just been redeveloped, I think 2022. It was sort of at one point, I think this was McDonald's. Walking along here, you've got the familiar picture of Bridlington having a funeral parlour slap bang in the middle of the main strip in town, the main road, the main tourist centre, where you're perhaps reminded of your impending doom. However, at that time it seemed to be, you know, an active concern. It seemed to be. I don't think it is now. You'll see sort of loyalty cards there, sort of die another day at Bridlington, but that refers to goat anyway, not to that place. Why it's still there like that, I don't know. But over here, perhaps some changes. As I was saying about test and trace, they never did find me. It's not that I was trying to evade them. I realised afterwards that it was probably because I had unknown numbers blocked on my phone. Indeed, I always have that. I do remember the time when you had to go into when you went into a cafe, probably at the end of all that, and you had to register, give your name and address for test and trace, just so that anybody else who'd been in the cafe who would test it positive, then you would be tracked down and told to isolate for 2 weeks. I overheard people making all sorts of fictional names and addresses up to avoid that. Not that that was me, of course. And here we have Bridlington Harbour. I'll have a closer look at that later on. Fishing boat just departing there underneath the sun. You can perhaps just see that. And we'll continue on this one continuous take that replicates the other film. And this, of course, looking pretty much the same as it did back in 2022. But that's simply because it's Sunday morning and nothing's open yet. this will be bustling with activity later on. And if you're looking at this video a long time into the future from today, just for a reference point of what's happening at the moment, Donald Trump became President of the United States probably about a month ago, and the search for MH370 has just resumed again. And at this point I'll end this film because I'm going to shortly go down to the harbour and film the harbour. So it's goodbye from Bridlington. Hope you enjoy this video, and perhaps you've wanted to contrast it with how things were back in 2022. As I said earlier, I've got that video. It's the first one I did just about on this channel. Take care now. Goodbye for now.